Good evening and welcome to Mo's channel. Today is February 27th, 2019. I'd just like to say this. I wish that my parents, that my mother had given birth to me on February 29th as opposed to October 31st. Because then I would age once every 4 years. Of course, I'd only have a birthday once every 4 years, but so what? Fuck it. I'd be 100 years old, but I'd be only 25 years old. Anyway, today I want to talk about politics. Specifically, I want to talk about Democrats and Republicans because I think they're both full of shit. Personally, I advocate for the creation of a third party, the Constitutional Party. And the Constitutional Party shall adhere to the Constitution, which means all lobbyists out the door. The Federal Reserve out the door. IRS out the door. Government debt out the door. Deficit spending out the door. But I want to talk about some specific topics that seem to grab the Democrats and Republicans and are clouded with a plethora of misinformation such that the people never really fully understand what the argument is about. In prior videos, I spoke about undocumented immigrants. I spoke about the wall. But in this video, I want to dig deeper. Way, way deeper. I am going to offend a lot of motherfucking people. I'm going to offend white people. I'm going to offend Mexicans. I'm going to offend Asian people. I'm going to offend black people. I'm going to offend homosexuals. And I'm going to offend women. But that's okay. Because, as they say, the truth hurts, motherfucker. Let's get right on it. Abortion. We thought this had been settled a long time ago with Roe versus Wade. I'll start off like this. I'm a man. I can't get pregnant. I could get a woman pregnant. If I get a woman pregnant, her life takes on a whole new meaning for about 6 months, or probably 5 months. Because the first 3 or 4 months of pregnancy do not really affect that woman that much. But once you start getting to 4, 5, 6, on to 9 months, it changes a woman's life. Once that baby is born, it really changes the woman's life. So let's look at this scenario. I'm in high school. I'm 16 years old. I got my little girlfriend. She's 15 years old. I get her pregnant. I say, fuck it. I ain't the father. Fuck that bitch. I go on with my life. I graduate high school. go on to college, graduate college, go on to grad school or medical school, law school, pharmacy school, whatever, get my degree, walk out there, I'm making 120, 150, 200, 3, 4, 500,000 a year. This 15-year-old who might have aspired to be a doctor, to be a lawyer, to be a congresswoman, to be the president, guess what? Fuck you. Her life is done. Her life is done. From that perspective alone, abortion should be legal. I did not have to endure the hardship of pregnancy. I did not have to endure the hardship of giving birth. I did not have to make the sacrifices to raise that child. And many, many, many countless women out there surrender their lives because of an unwanted, unplanned pregnancy. And the man, like me, continues to live my life. Fuck that bitch. She opened her legs. I stuck my dick in. Fuck her. That's her problem. For that reason alone, I advocate abortion. A woman should have a right to terminate a pregnancy that is not wanted because that pregnancy, that child, will have an impact on her life far greater than on my life. Men should not be in the business of legislating what a woman does with her body. However, let us confront the realities of abortion. To do that, let's understand some things. When you talk about population, you have what they call the replacement ratio. What the replacement ratio basically signifies is whether or not a specific demographic is producing sufficient number of children to replace those within that demographic who are dying. You have, let's just take the Chinese population. There's 10 million Chinese in America. I'm just saying, that's not a fact. But let's assume there's 10 million Chinese in America. Let's assume that each year, 2 million of those Chinese die. Let us assume that no Chinese children are born. In 5 years, there'll be no more Chinese in America. Let's take it further. 10 million Chinese. Each year, 2 million Chinese die. But each year, 1 million Chinese babies are born. The net negative growth of the Chinese population is 1 million. In 10 years, the Chinese population will vanish. So what are the realities? On average, Hispanics produce 2.4 children per woman. Black people produce 2.1 children per woman. Asian and white people produce 1.8 million, 1.8 children per woman. The reality is that the replacement ratio for Hispanics, for blacks, and for Asians is sufficient to keep their population growing. The replacement ratio for white people is insufficient, such that within the next 100 to 150 years, unless something happens, white people will be extinct from this planet. Let me say that again. At the current replacement ratio, where the death rate surpasses the birth rate, in 150 to 200 years, there will be 0 white people left on this planet. That is significant. Within 20 to 30 years, white people, who are now 60 to 70% of the US population, will fall to less than 45%. At the same time, the population proportion of black people and Hispanic people will increase. White people won't be a minority in 20 to 30 years, but within 70 years, white people will be a minority in this nation. White people will be a minority in Europe. That's serious. It's serious for 2 reasons. Number 1, you have to understand. You have to understand whether you're white, black, Asian, Hispanic. You have to understand. White people are extremely insecure. They know and they understand that their place in this world is not rightfully earned. It is something that has been derived through lies, deceit, and manipulation. Manipulation of history, manipulation of facts. White people, white men, are extremely insecure. That is why they walk around with this arrogant attitude that they know everything and they're the masters of everything, when in reality, white people never created fucking shit. Think about that. Now, the manner in which white people have maintained their superiority over all other races is via projection. Projection through military force, projection through economic might, and projection through the media. But white people understand that if I'm 100 strong, and there's 1,000 Asians, and there's 1,000 Latinos, and there's 1,000 black people, ain't no fucking way I'm gonna win. In the deep recesses of their minds, white people are fully aware of all the harm and suffering they have caused on this planet. And white people are fully aware that were it not for their military might and control of the global economy, the rest of the world would crush them. That is a fear that white people live with every day. They know the harm they've caused globally, and they know that Asians, Hispanics, and black people do not like them. They only tolerate them, and they're waiting for that moment when they could toss them out. Therefore, numbers are significant. Hispanics produce like rabbits. Go to LA, stand in the street corner. You'll see a Mexican woman with a baby in the belly, with a baby in a stroller, with a 2-year-old standing next to her, and a 4-year-old standing on the other side. They produce like rabbits. Like rabbits. Black people, shit, man. You have sex with a girl, next thing you know, I got a baby. Like, damn, nigga. Again? I don't know that much about Asian reproduction, but I'm quite sure they don't have a problem maintaining their population, except Japan, where it seems the men are scared of women. Crazy shit. So when you talk about abortion, you have to understand that these white men who are vehemently opposed to abortion are not doing it to punish women. No. They are doing it because they understand that every white baby is of utmost significance. Every white baby is of utmost significance. A white baby that is aborted only adds to the problem, and that problem is white extinction. It is a reality. They don't talk about it, but it is a fucking reality. The average white man, the average white woman out there in the street, they have no idea about this shit. But the white men and the white women at the top know fully well what's coming down the road. And that shit scares the fuck out of them. So abortion. And white people, you should applaud the Republicans and others that stand against abortion, because they are trying to preserve your race. Now, they might say abortion is killing a human life. Is it? Up until 6 months, that embryo cannot survive on the outside on its own. That is not a valid human life. A valid human life can sustain itself, can survive on its own. Up until 6 months, that embryo is just a bunch of fucking living cells. So to argue that aborting at 2 months, 3 months, 4 months is killing a life, that's bullshit. And if it was killing a life, these same motherfuckers that stand so strong against abortion support war. How many Iraqi human lives did we destroy? Did we kill? Did we put an end to when we went to Iraq? How many Afghanistani human lives did we eradicate? How many Syrian human lives did we eradicate? How many slaves died during slavery? How many Africans died during colonialism? So if you're about life, How the fuck are you going to support war? How the fuck are you going to be for the death penalty? It don't make sense. But when you look at it from the perspective of white population decline, then it makes absolute motherfucking sense. Now, let's talk about white population decline. A while back, I was pre-med at one point in time. I was going to be a doctor. I wanted to be a neurosurgeon. And the only reason I wanted to be a neurosurgeon is I wanted to fuck with people's brains. I wanted to go in there, take the nerves that go to the hands and attach them to the legs. So when you go to wave, your leg waves. When your brain sends a signal to walk, your hands get down and start walking. After a while, I figured I might be sued to oblivion, so I said, fuck that, I won't be a doctor. I'll be an engineer. But when you're studying for med school, when you're in pre-med, you take courses such as cell biology and so forth. And within cell biology, they got a magazine, a journal publication called the Journal of Cell Biology. And I was reading that journal, that magazine once upon a time, and it spoke about how the white woman's ova rejects the white man's sperm. The white woman's ova rejects the white man's sperm. The same white woman who cannot get impregnated by a white man will sleep with an Asian, a Latino, a black man, and get pregnant just like that. White men are the only ones who have a problem impregnating women because the woman's ova rejects the white man's sperm. Look it up. Look it up. I'm not making this up. Look it up. So there's that problem, the biological problem that prevents the growth of the white race. Every white baby counts, white woman. So stop getting abortions. Another problem with you white women, you're waiting till you're 30 to have babies. My career, my career, my career. What the fuck are you doing to your race? By the time you're 30, you can only have 1 or 2 babies. You need to have 10 white babies, white women. You need to have 10 white babies. Each and every fucking one of you needs to have 10 white babies. That's why you see white men opposed to the advancement of white women. Furthermore, that's why you see white men frown upon interracial marriages. But they came up with something. Because now all these white women want to go with black men. What the fuck is wrong with you? Where's your race loyalty? So now you got all these mulattoes running around. And once upon a time, if you had one drop of black blood in you, you was a nigger. You was a goddamn fucking nigger. I went to Howard. I knew kids, I thought they were fucking white. Showed me pictures of their family.